Right, one quick restart of 3ds Max later, and let's see how we're doing. Because I think Max had basically started being a little bit weird. So if I just... Yep, there we go. It's up to you. You can either multiple select all these or whatever. I wonder if this had anything to do with that little cluster of mushrooms that appeared at the bottom. Probably did. There we go. But when I started moving these pieces around, well, interestingly, it was like there was another one underneath this. I just couldn't delete it though. Kind of hard to explain. You know, if you've like duplicated a model, imagine you've got a frozen one underneath it. So anything I deleted, it was like there was a copy underneath that I couldn't get rid of. So I'm going to put that down to a good old 3ds Max glitch, because that's exactly what it was. Anyway, let's get back into filling in these things. So, first things first, I'm going to zoom in on this. Reason being, it resets basically my zoom to there, and then I'm going to start bridging. And I'm going to bridge before I cap, so bridge. I'm going to bridge them to the correct one as well, otherwise it'll cause some rather hilarious problems. Hilarious for you to watch, unfortunate for me as I cough and splutter and pretend I meant to do that in order to show you an error and how to reproduce it, which is exactly what I would do. Don't trust anyone, remember? Remember kids, never trust authority. Unless it's from 3D Palace, in which case please buy all our tutorials. We're trustworthy and reliable. Okay, bring this one down. Remember, if it doesn't work, just do it again. It will eventually. As long as we built these flat against the original surface, you see, these will work. And when we cap in all our spaces, it'll look lovely. And then we'll be like, yay, like that. That's exactly what we'll be like, yay. Do you ever do that? You just rush outside and go, yay, like that. And they get beaten up by a biker or something. What you showed me about, boy? Right. There we go. So just going around this whilst nonsensically rambling about being beaten up by bikers for having a funny voice. Okay, so now I'm going to control select everything. So control A, and then mash cap. And then as if by magic we should now have all our holes filled in. There we go. And now it's starting to look a bit okay, isn't it? All our bolts and everything. Okay, so next, this part. And I need to put a rim of bolts around this one. So what I'm going to do is use this. I'm going to place it using the object paint system. So just add my selector to this list. Ensure that I'm painting objects on a list, and I'm going to paint on my selected. And this is my selected object here. Okay, so now I just want to paint one on it. There we go, and now I can bring down the scale. So I think probably about 33 is going to be fine. And I'll do it again on the other side too. Okay, so that's that done. Close that off. And what I'm going to do here is grab this, and I am going to align my pivot. So effect pivot only align to this. And click OK, and now you can see that my pivot is now lined up to the rest of the knees, which means that if I do this with an angle snap on, and let me see, maybe, oh hang on, I think I'm still affecting my pivot. There we go. I want to do a 45 degree and do maybe 7 copies of it. Goes all the way around the outside, you see. And then if I do it again on this side, and again, effect by pivot only, align to this, click OK, turn the pivot off. Same as before, 45 degrees, 7 copies, and bam-o. Okay, so that goes all the way around there. So now I can take my knee and start attaching these bits to it. So 16 of these fellas. This won't take very long to sort out. Now if I just come into this, start removing parts I don't need. There we go. And then this one. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Right, now, again, same as before, I'm just going to use my edge thing, the bridge. And if you want to use different kinds of bolts, you can. However, quick talk on changing and having millions of different kinds of bolts. The problem is that, well, it's not even a problem as such, okay? But go and look at a real car, or go and look at, anything in your house, really. Go and take to bits your mum's TV, or, go in the garden and start taking your car apart, whatever cheers you up. But the point is that the bolts inside it that hold it all together are uniform. So, while you may get a few different sized ones, basically they're all sourced from the same place, all these bolts and nuts. And you're going to use as few different parts as possible, because that's the way the whole kind of factory supply system works. So you'll get parts like these, but maybe you'll get 15mm, 30mm, 5mm variants of them. You won't get tons of different elaborate kind of bolts and things. Maybe for the most expensive of cars you'll get a few, but you won't get loads. So by keeping our bolts kind of uniform, it makes our vehicle a lot more believable to the eye. Sorry if I'm a little bit kind of rough sounding, I really don't feel great, as I said. Now I'll just cap that off. There we go. I've got to apply a smooth to this, but that won't take long. Grab this. Smooth. Which will be down here. Okay, so that's that part now, with all its lovely bolts put in place, its chamfering and all that kind of good stuff. So now back to this again, and I want some nice big fat bolts in this one. So press F4 so I can see what I'm doing better. And the thing about this piece is I really think it should be a little bit more smoothed. So I want to see what it looks like with an open subdivision on it. And if I turn off isoline display, I'll get a better idea of how it's going to look. As you can see, there's a bit of an issue in there. I think it's probably going to be best to keep open subdivision off, so I'll remove the modifier from the stack. Another option I could do is just to tessellate the entire model, just to add some extra polygons, see how that looks. You see, that isn't as destructive, although we've still got a little bit of an issue in there. So I think I'll take that off as well. Okay, so I'll just use it as it is. Now I'm going to go back to this, open my list, I should still have this on. Paint by list. And here's a useful thing. I can just paint straight on that. 1, 2, 3. Getting close there, make sure it's not overlapping. 4. Come around. And these big bolts give it the impression of having an arse boat of strength when it doesn't. Plus they give it a nice industrial feel, which I always approve of. Okay, 8 bolts in total. Shut that down. Go to my attach tool. I think that's one of my favourite new phrases, an ass boat. I don't know what an ass boat is, but that's one jolly sounding boat. Okay, let's delete these. Chang. That's the sound effect, by the way. Okay, we can't afford special sound effects, 3D colours. Now the bridge. Incidentally, anyone who remembers the APU sets in 3D Palace may remember there's a bit on it where I actually thought I'd paused the recording, but I hadn't, and I tell my kids off from running down the stairs in the background, because I do most of my recording here, well, all of it at the minute. And this was, what, nearly 10 years ago. And the little kid who was running down the stairs, it was one of the noisy ones. It was actually the one this time who brought me some medicine for my cold. 16 now, can you believe it? Time flies, eh? Let's cap those off. F4. And that's not bad. All I'm going to need to do is apply smooth to this again, and that will be groovy. Turn it around this way. It's good lad, that one. Anyway, back to this. Just use my select tool, not select to rotate, because it's very easy to move something and bollocks up your entire model. So let's try not to. Okay, so again, bridging. And then finally up here. I'm getting a bit tired, so I'm going to finish this section soon, and probably go and get some more paracetamol, but get that. Before I do, I really want to do some detailing of this piece, and I don't want to use this one for it. See that one there? So I'm going to delete it and unhide all, which brings up everything, including these rather nice bits over here. I don't think I'm going to need this again, so you can go away now. And let's have a look. Now then, this one's quite nice. I might use this one. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know, decisions. Yes, so I'll use this one. Open my list, add selected. Go over here, isolate my selection. And then in here, what I'm going to do is place it round about there. Not seeing it. Where's it gone? Isn't there? Oh. I do have detail bolt selected, don't I? Yep, good. Okay, there it is. Right, so draw it on here. around. And do it again here. Actually, rather than drawing it halfway around, I'm going to draw it on here. In the middle. And again in the middle here. Okay, and now I can adjust the scale on these. So, that's about right. Right, now what I need to do is affect the pivot for these. Stop drawing. There we go. So if I take this one, affect pivot only, and align it to this, and then click OK. I'll select this one, and with the pivot affected only, align to this, and click OK. So they're both centralized to that one now. And what I'm going to do is rotate it. So 20, 40, and let me see, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. That's 9. So I need to make 8 more copies. Ah, look at that. Old boy's still got the maths. Now this one. 8 copies of this as well. Okay, and now we can attach these to that. So just use my attach tool. Now if I wasn't using an inset on this, you know, where the extrude goes inside the actual model for detailing, then I may be tempted not to spend the extra few minutes I'm going to spend, obviously, you know, deleting these facing polygons and bonding the piece in. However, I have, and it's good practice, and it'll give us a really tidy looking model. This is the kind of shape and smoothness that, to be fair, a lot of people who are using ZBrush kind of hoping to achieve. You see, we get that by being able to vary the density of our polygons in various areas, which is really helpful. Don't get me wrong, ZBrush is a fantastically useful tool, and I wish I was a quarter as good at using ZBrush as I am at using 3ds Max. And maybe with practice I would be, but you know, I'm 43 now. It's not ZBrush's fault, I just don't have the patience anymore really to start picking up more packages. 3ds Max ever died, it'd be like, well, back to playing with string. Although some people more or less think that that's what I'm doing. It's quite funny, the way that I kind of post whips about what I do now has changed fundamentally, you know, since the old days of 3D Palace. I love how I can say that, the old days, but it's true. It used to be that I'd kind of post up what I was doing on 3D Palace, and you get people going, wow, that's incredible, how do you do that? Can't wait to see it textured, more pics please, stuff like that. You don't get that now because people don't have their own communities in the same way that we used to. I mean, 3D Palace has, because, you know, I've still got them archived, something like 200,000 threads and conversations. You used to have a massively active user base, but things change. Facebook really has taken a lot of that, and you kind of have to think to yourself, well, will there ever be anything after Facebook? And I don't know, maybe not. I remember people thought, oh, MySpace is where it's all at, but that just became a horrible piece of advertising-filled shite, as we all knew it would. But the thing is now, a lot of what I do, I kind of have to post on the 3D Palace group on Facebook, or I post up to 10,000 hours, which is a great group if you're pretty good at kind of what you do, or if you're trying to get better at what you do. Very much recommend 10,000 hours. But it's a lot harder as well to kind of get people to pay attention to what it is you're doing. So it takes a lot more work. Okay, I'm going to smooth this. There it is. Just there. I'm going to auto smooth this to 23 on my threshold. I don't know what the numbers mean really, I just, you know, I know it works. There we go, 23, that'll do. Right click, convert to edible polygon. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, now what I can do here is start, probably in the next tutorial actually, because I really haven't been feeling getting knackered, start pulling out the bits over there, kind of in that, because there's going to be a part that goes there and a pipe that connects to it. Once that's done, really, this leg's kind of done, you know. I'm going to have a pipe that comes out and connects into this, and then I'm going to have a big ass piston at the back of here that connects to this, and you know, the leg is pretty much kind of done in that respect. After that, it's just a case of putting the armour on and connecting it to the hip. The hips are pretty and rather exciting piece. A lot of interesting things in there, and I'm thinking I might use some of Neil Blevin's Soulburn scripts, so there might be an interesting piece about that. I can't promise. I've got to test them out myself to see if they're going to work the way I want them to without creating too many verts, but I might well use that, because it's got a really good tool that's based on wire jumble that I absolutely love. Okay, made a lot of progress. You should be pleased with yourself if you're following along. Remember, get yourself a shiny, and I shall see you in the next bit. Until then,